This is a brake job I did on my 1989 Toyota Dolphin RV. It's a 1-ton. These are the tools that I used, and don't forget your camera. A picture is worth 1,000 words. First I had to chock the RV and then jack it up, put jack stands. I had to use a breaker bar in order to get the lug nuts off. And then I pulled these nuts and washers off the axle hub. I had to smack the crap out of the axle hub to get these little comb wedges out. Once I got them loose, I could just pull them right out with my fingers. I put these 2 bolts or screws in there, that way I could press out the axle. Once I got it freed, I could just pull the axle straight out. Then I loosened these 2 set screws and took them out. And then the retaining lock nut here just unscrews lefty-loosey. Pull on the drum, you kinda gotta wiggle it back and forth to get the bearing out and the washer out. If that doesn't come out, because your shoes are holding it, go to the back, pop this grommet off the bottom, use a short flat tip screwdriver to adjust the little tensioner holding the brake shoes out. That's a picture of the little tensioner wheel that you have to adjust. Once you do that, go back, give it a pull, and it should pop right off for you. Before you go any further, make sure you take pictures of your springs and how they're set up. I took one of the top and the bottom. Now I'm removing the top springs. Make sure you're real careful. These springs are under super high tension. This part here just pops right off, nothing holding in place. Follow that cable down and release the parking brake spring at the bottom. I had to use needle nose pliers to get to this little spring back here, and then pull the other end off the bottom of the shoes. This little pin right here, you have to hold it in while you push and turn this retaining spring. So just use your channel locks, push in and turn, and it will release the shoe. Here the shoe is free. You see how the brake arm there, don't release the emergency brake. Actually release it up there from the top on that little C locking clip. I just pried it apart and then pried it off. I was real careful with it because I wanted to reuse my parts. Put the brake arm back on, put the little locking C on there, and then pinched it down, and that locked the brake arm in place. Put my springs on the bottom of the new shoe. This is a picture of the old shoe. Cleaned everything up really good with brake cleaner and applied my anti-squeal, and now I'm installing it, holding the pin on the back, pushing in and turning. And here I'm just cleaning, applying my anti-squeal to the other side. This is just a picture of the locations for your anti-squeal. Transferred my spring over from the other shoe. And here I'm getting ready to install the new shoe. Again, make sure you hold that pin in the back when you push that other spring on. I also changed out my caliper. Here you'll see the new calipers. And then I used my pictures to put my springs back on. On the bottom, the big thing here to remember is to make sure the spindle's lined up with that little lever for your parking brake. That way your brake shoes will adjust properly. I repacked my bearing. Put the bearing in, taper side in. You push it in and spin your wheel back and forth. Then you put this washer and line up that notch, and then you put your locking ring back on. And you're going to be spinning this to get that bearing to seat. You're going to lock that all the way down on there, and then once you finish it, you're going to back it off about 1/8 of a turn, and you'll put the locking screws back in. Cleaned up the hub and the axle of the old gasket. Put it on and put the axle right in, slid right in place. Here I'm putting those little comb wedges back in, and then you put your locking washer and your nuts back on, tightening, alternating from side to side, and then you reinstall the wheel, again tightening, alternating from side to side.